I was born in Garfield Heights, Ohio, in at Marymount Hospital, and raised in Bedford. Until we were, see, I think I just turned 15. We moved to South Carolina, so I went to St. Mary's grade school and Holy Name High School, and it went back when it was on Broadway and Miles. And yeah, man, so lots of family up there. My mom's side of the family is Irish, so huge Irish clan up in the Cleveland area, mostly the West Side. Man, I've got lots of memories because Halloween, first of all, was huge for any kid, right? And and back in that day, the streets were just swamped with kids in costumes. It was a different era, and I started delivering papers, I think, around fourth grade. So I remember delivering papers through the fall and the smell of the change of colors, and then into the winter where snowdrifts were higher than my head, and the temperature with the wind chill was -8 degrees, and I had two paper outs, man. So Cleveland Plain Dealer, dude. It got me interested in journalism, and I majored in broadcasting journalism as a in undergrad.
Okay, so let's jump into this movie. How did you become Michael Myers? How did that actually happen?
So the stunt coordinator who worked on Rob Zombie's two films, the two previous Halloweens, he called me up. I'd known him for 30 years, and he called me up and said, "Hey, so we're doing another Halloween." I was like, "Great, that sounds good. Have fun, man." He goes, "Well, I read the script," and he said he called David Gordon Green, the director, and Malika Akkad, and said, "This script is different than any other. You're going to need an actor with really, someone with deep acting chops, and someone who's a really good stuntman." And I'm a trained actor. I studied with Stella Adler. I had a private coach in the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. I mean, I've done a lot of work on the acting end. And as a stuntman, I've done over 3,000 high falls and probably 7,000 fights because I started out in live shows. So then David Gordon Green said, "Well, he's got to be 6'3", 200 pounds, and he's got to be in his 60s. Do you know anybody?" And Ron knew one guy, and that was me. So it was meant to be.
And what was that moment like the first time you put on the mask and realized I am Michael Myers?
Dude, that was okay. That wasn't we were rehearsing the long tracking shot 2018. It was about 11 or 12 at night. Chris Nelson, the guy who created the mask, the special effects makeup artist, he walked in with these two masks, very dramatic. He walked in with two masks and a leather Halliburton, and everybody, Malik and Akkad, who owns the franchise, and David Gordon Green and Ron Hutchinson and Danny McBride and Mike Simmons, the cinematographer. Everybody, we all gathered in a room, and very dramatically, Chris put the mask on me, and dude, it was like an 8 million amp connection. Everybody collectively in the room just went, "Oh." There was a guttural sound. I mean, and inside me, it was the connection that it was the connection I needed to make it happen.
So this latest film, Halloween Ends, supposedly the end of the series. That's the question. Is it actually over?
Well, for me, it is. For Jamie, it is. For me, it is. Who knows what they're going to do in 10 years, but I think it's going to be pretty hard to cap this, for right now. And I'm done. I've got other projects that are in the pipeline right now, and I don't want to be stuck playing one character, but it's been an honor to play this character for sure.
So walk us through that ending when your last shot's done and you realize your last time playing Michael Myers is over. Walk us through the emotions of that with Jamie Lee Curtis and the rest of the crew.
Wow, we call it postpartum depression. Because after you've given birth to something like this, where you've poured your heart and your soul, creatively into it, it's really, it takes time for us to really to digest it all. And for Jamie and I mean, there are times when we're shooting the finale. One time in particular, for instance, I was laying there on the table, and while they're doing, setting up lights and changing for another setup, we held hands for an hour without speaking. She just held my hand, and we stood there. She stood next to me. And so there's a very, very deep emotional connection between us as human beings and, primarily us as characters. And so it was really deep, and it was really sad, and but it was also kind of a relief, because carrying the depth of the darkness of this character for both of us, for Jamie and myself, and letting it go. And I can tell you, it's palpable, the feeling of letting that go and not carrying that anymore is it's probably a lot healthier for my psychological well-being.
And I know the movie's been out for a couple of weeks, and it has been very polarizing, as I'm sure you've seen. People absolutely love it, and there are others who aren't very happy with it. What is your reaction to the feedback you're seeing from viewers?
Well, we knew that going in, And to me, making a movie is very much like, playing football. If you've got a chance of winning a championship, you've got to buy into the coach's program. And you know, David Gordon Green is remarkably talented. And so, as a creator, you've got to take risks too. We knew going in we were taking risks, but that's what we do. I mean, if you don't take a risk, if you don't do something different than somebody else has done before, then you're just rehashing the same old crap. And who wants to do that? So we knew that going in. The great news is that people care enough that there's controversy. And so I'm just happy that people pay attention enough and care enough. And some of the fans, man, they will go frame by frame and they will look at every single nuance. And that's really great, man. It's a great to be, to be collectively so involved with the project and be so passionate about it.
So no surprise by some of the feedback.
No, not at all. We of course would want to please everybody, but when you take risks, you're not going to. And in fact, we had some of the same kind of response from Halloween Kills as well. I mean, some people didn't like the gore, and some people thought it was too action oriented, and some people, but that's okay. Everybody gets their opinion, and we just did the best we could with what we had to work with, and we're all pretty proud of it.
So, last couple of questions: are there any hidden Easter eggs in some of these movies that you're most passionate about, or maybe one that fans don't notice that you think they should watch closer for?
In the trilogy?
Sure.
Well, yeah. I would say, well, I can't tell you what it is because then then it would spoil it. That's the beauty. That's the genius of David Gordon Green is he does put Easter eggs in there, and so you have to watch it more than once. And mm-hmm. and that's the and there's the whole controversy of releasing a Peacock the same time as the theaters, and there's a lot to said about that. I would say that seeing the theaters first and foremost is important because it's a big screen film, and then streaming it because that's when you're going to catch the Easter eggs. When you're going to see over and over again, you're going to catch the little nuances, the little references that David leaves in there, and he's done it in all three films.
Any mementos you kept from the series?
Oh, I've got masks from each one of the films, and there are only a couple of them made for each film. The hero, which I wear, and then there's one for a stunt double, and then there's one made specifically for fire. So I have the hero masks. In other words, the masks that I wore every single day. They're incredibly valuable. I've been offered just an insane amount of money for each of them, but of course, I'm not going to sell them. I'll keep them. They're being preserved. So. Gotcha. And I'll never put them on, by the way. I'll never put them on. Once I take the mask off, I'm done. That's it.
So you won't even go to like your local Spirit Halloween, buy a Michael Myers mask and go walk the neighborhood?
Well, I don't know, man. If the paycheck is there, I guess.
Gotcha. So looking back, what is the one moment that's really going to define your time as Michael Myers?
I would say the finale between Jamie and I. I think of all the beautiful, beautiful moments I had in all three films, that finale for myself and for Jamie is what she told me is the most powerful moment, I think, in my career, and therefore certainly of this trilogy. And every moment of this trilogy has just been pure joy. I mean, it's been physically demanding. I've had bruised ribs. I got a concussion on this last film. A hematoma is all kinds of fun stuff. But it was really, we all went in investing everything we had in it. And so the finale to me was the beautiful, beautiful ending to, just the greatest experience of my filmmaking life.